Hello and welcome to Libra season. Thanks for tuning in to the Embodied Astrology podcast. I'm Renee Sills. I'm a consulting astrologer, embodiment educator, and multidimensional human who, like you, is on a journey through this crazy thing we call life here on planet Earth. These days, as I'm sure you've noticed, life on Earth is complex, chaotic, confusing, terrifying, and deeply heartbreaking, yet also still full of beauty and saturated by the mysterious substances of sentient potentiality. In many ways, these times are to be expected, given the histories and cycles that they're emerging within. In the ongoing evolution of human consciousness, navigating times of crisis has always been our necessity. Throughout history, we humans have had to reckon with creative and destructive potentials, and the ways in which we can make meaning and grow through experiences of tragedy and pain. Over the ages, one of our most important evolutionary guides and allies in meaning making has been astrology. Astrology is expansive, and the type that I practice, which is called tropical astrology, is just one of its many forms. Different forms of astrology exist and have existed on every part of the globe, and new forms and variations are still being created. At its most fundamental level, astrology is an orientation of attunement with the cycles and seasons of the cosmos, and a practice of listening and communing with the most important planet of all, which is the one we're part of, Earth. If you, like me, are interested in how you can live into the fullest potential of your lifetime, in service to the life and lives yours is interwoven with here on Earth, I want to invite you to join me next month for an in-person on-land retreat, where we'll explore how embodying astrology can help us attune with our intuition, open our imaginations, and show up for our journeys with inspiration, presence, and purpose. October 24th through 27th at the Eco-Dharma Center in the Rocky Mountains, I'll be joined by my colleagues Ramon and Michelle Gabrieloff-Parrish for a deep dive into experiential astrology. During this 4-day residential retreat, we'll engage with charts, signs, and symbolism. We'll spend time outside, connecting with our physical presence, somatic intelligence, and psychic process, in communion with the land and sky. We'll experiment with the potential of astrology to elaborate systems thinking, expand mind-body coherence, and assist us in cultivating perspectives on how our individual inheritances and personal potentials can help us all meet the historic moment we're in as change agents, healers, and visionaries. If this sounds like the place you want to be, I hope you'll join us. Learn more about the Body of Stars retreat by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting embodiedastrology.com, where you can find more information from the drop-down menu in the study section. Last but not least, before we get to your sign-specific horoscopes, I do want to remind you that these readings are somewhat personal explorations of larger collective symbols. Take what works, leave the rest, and make the meaning that's meaningful for you. For a broader focus on the astrology of current events and a collective reading, make sure to listen to my Libra season overview, available on YouTube or wherever you stream your podcasts. Hello, Leo. Welcome to Libra season. As we move into Libra season, we are very much in an eclipse window. So we had an eclipse on September 17th in the sign Pisces, and on October 2nd, we'll have an eclipse in Libra. So the last eclipse was a lunar eclipse, a full moon eclipse, and the October 2nd eclipse is a new moon solar eclipse. Eclipses are weird times, I think, personally. I find them to be times that really amplify a sense of strangeness. There's a lot of overlapping timelines that are coming in. There's a kind of emergence of deep patterns or deeply held patterns coming forward as opportunities to let go of what actually isn't working. And awareness of these patterns coming forward in strong ways might feel intense in the moment, but if you can bring consciousness to what is being shown to you and do the work of discernment around taking ownership for your own patterns and habits, adjusting where necessary, being accountable to the growth that you want for yourself and the outcomes that you are trying to work for, then actually these times can be hugely evolutionary in their impact. They can be times that really help us to clarify where we're trying to go and inspire and motivate these directions. So I'm going to speak to your head, heart, and body in this horoscope for Libra season. As we work with the head, we are working with your ideas about beauty and preference and attraction. These are really important for the sign Libra. As we work with your heart, we are going to be working with love and what's not always feeling like love in relationships and kind of the process of being in relationship, which is probably for most of us a kind of consistent oscillation between feelings of closeness and distance. And as we work with your body, we are going to be working with themes of balance and integration. So, getting into Libra season begins on the 22nd of September. And there are some details that I think are really needing your attention in the first couple of days of Libra season. These details feel very practical in nature, but they have far-reaching consequences and connections. So there might be really big themes in your life right now, particularly that have to do with resources. That's your time, energy, attention, and possessions. It's your bank account and finances. It's also how you can orient towards what you need and what you want. As you orient differently towards your resources, you are able to feel into some farther reaching changes that have to do with your sense of path and purpose in the world. For some of you, this may be very distinctly career-oriented or vocational. For others of you, these may be themes that have more to do with your life and with your legacy and what you put your resources, your time, energy, attention into. Over the first couple days of Libra season, it's really important that you give these details the time and the space that they need. I don't think that this is taking a lot more time in terms of some practical clearing up that's happening, but it does need your attention the first few days. As we get into the end of September, beginning of October, it's a feeling for me of now that you understand something about your time, energy, attention, resource, money, desire, you also understand what you don't need anymore. This could be you don't need to obsess about certain things. This could be you don't need to invest in particular ways. That definitely includes financial investments, but it also includes investments of, again, your time, energy, and attention, and also, of course, investments into relationships. Now, your tastes and your preferences and your ideas about what is, I'm going to use this word, good. Such a weird word, right? Good. What does that even mean sometimes? What is good? Your ideas about what makes you good, like what makes you attractive, what makes you compelling, what makes you worthwhile, right? Your self-esteem, your sense of value. This is really shifting for a lot of you. I think that many of you are finding that you're not trying to be a certain way anymore, or maybe certain ways anymore, because you're not attracted to those ways of being anymore. You don't find those kinds of embodiments compelling. And you may be sorting some things out for yourself right now around how your relationship with value and values and self-esteem organized in your mind, heart, body to give you some kind of idea about how you needed to be in order to receive love, in order to receive attention, affection, etc. And there's something about this quality of time that is really shifting a lot of things for a lot of you. And this then is remarkably shifting how you're thinking about your life, how you're thinking about relationships, and how you are listening, perceiving, and kind of metabolizing information that you get from others, and then how you're communicating and how you're putting yourself out and expressing yourself in the world and to others. There is, again, the solar eclipse and new moon in Libra on October 2nd. This is a very powerful time for you to recognize the power of your voice. When you give voice to what is true for you, you strengthen your investment in living your authentic truth. When you use your voice to tell lies, or to be avoidant, or to communicate what you think other people want you to hear, when you use your voice to cover up your true sentiments or something like that, you are misusing your own power. I'm going to say that with the caveat that sometimes for survival, we need to lie. Sometimes for survival, we need to be a little bit avoidant or not be totally out there with everything that feels honest and true. That requires discernment, but I want to really ask you to be discerning right now. And if you are using your voice because you have to in order to survive in ways that are not aligned for your authentic truth, then go use your voice in the other way, in a more healing way somewhere else. If you work a job, let's say, where you can't just be out there with your opinion about your boss, you can still journal about it at home. You can still talk to your therapist. There needs to be an articulation of truth for you around this time. It feels very important that you are aligning what you say that you want, again, taste, preferences, ideas about what's good, with the clarity and discernment and embodied truth of what you know that you want. And this only can come from a place of integration, and I'm going to say self-love and self-valuing. So the more that you practice loving yourself, and that doesn't mean you get a pass all the time and you can't do anything wrong, and it's like, oh my God, you're just like amazing 24/7. It's not that kind of like gassing you up idea of loving yourself. It's you hold yourself in accountability. You understand that you are a human being, you're evolving, you're allowed to be messy, you're allowed to fail, and you love yourself. You want to invest in being the person that you can be, and really uplifting, elevating, and expanding the parts of yourself that feel most interesting to you, that feel most compelling and liberated and authentic and free. As we get into October, there is a kind of strong directive for you right now to notice where your energy is getting hung up and confused or diluted or overwhelmed or misused, and to try to cut things out that aren't working for you. This is a major theme through the end of 2024 and into 2025. What does not serve your energy? And October really starts to resonate with the need for you to clearly identify that for yourself. Pay attention to symptomatic reactions to things. For example, let's say you go to see a movie and the movie kind of like fills your mind with all kinds of, lots of movies are full of violence, right? So let's say you go to see a movie and it's full of violence, and then you get out of the movie and you feel yourself kind of reactive and edgy or aggressive, or maybe fearful of other people or something like that. And then you notice, oh, taking that content, that information into my body mind had an effect on my energy that then created a kind of disturbance in my energy field. That's just a hypothetical example. Maybe you love violent movies and they just do great things for you. Take what works for you, make the meaning that's meaningful. Consider any circumstance, right? You want to notice how you are responding to things and what the symptoms of those responses might be, particularly when they're agitating, inflammatory, particularly when they get you into a state where you might be more prone to other and feel like a kind of sense of what is not love, right? You have to fight against something. Or when they get you into a space where you're kind of in an ungrounded attraction, where you can't really feel your own limits or your own boundaries. A lot of you really want to be mindful of tendencies to take care of aspects of other people or their lives that are actually none of your business to be taken care of. And I think that some of you are trying to unravel, uncord, unwind from relational dynamics. This could include with people who are in spirit now. This could also include people who are strangers, right, but have somehow influenced your mind and ideas about yourself. You are trying to unravel and unwind from relational patterns that have you taking on what's not yours to take on, giving what's not yours to give, and staying in dynamics that somehow keep you, what I feel is trapped, stifled, stuck. Again, this is a longer kind of phase, taking us all the way into the first couple of months of next year. So if you feel a kind of way and you're like, that thing is wrong for me, I fucking hate it, I'm done with it, and you have a very strong reaction, notice the reaction, give yourself, I'm going to say, until kind of the end of Libra season to discern and assess. Notice your reactions, notice your symptoms, notice how things make you feel. And by the full moon on October 17th, I think a lot of you will have clarified what you need to do about it and where you want to go. In between the new moon and the full moon, October 2nd and October 17th, there are some other things that are going on beside you needing to really take note of your reactions and your responses. And these things primarily have to do with, I'm going to say, your communication patterns. And your communication patterns are not just how you're speaking or expressing yourself. It's very, very much about how you're taking in information, perceiving and receiving what you're picking up in the world and from others. And again, your sense of values and value are shifting and changing. Your aesthetics are changing. Take the word aesthetics and write a list of synonyms for it, right? Preferences, desires, what you think is beautiful, how you feel attractive, things like that. This is shifting. As this shifts, you are perceiving other people's communication differently. Communication happens 93% or something in a nonverbal way. So we talk with each other, but we have vibes with each other. We give information through our attitudes and behaviors and our body language and gestures, facial expressions, etc. How you pick up information from others is shifting. Ideally, as you love yourself better, you are able to take other people less personally. And that means that the communication that you're picking up isn't full of a whole lot of projections where you're being hypothetical about, oh, what did that look mean? Or they didn't do this, it must mean that, or something like that. And you are able to more clearly discern for yourself what works for you in this communication. Oh, they looked like that. They didn't do this thing, they did do that thing. Okay, well, what do you need about that? Do you need to ask a clarifying question? Do you need to treat that other person as a sovereign adult who's making their own decisions and then make your own decisions? And not try and, do a little mental dance around whatever it is that they're doing so that you can figure out how to dance around the thing that they're doing and make it okay? How can you tune in best with the directions that you really want to head, how you want to grow, how you want to expand in your relational dynamics and field from an increasingly integrated mind, heart, body? This is a period of time that is bringing some questions into your relationships, Leo. There are questions about friendships. There are questions potentially about partnerships. There are questions about social groups or organizations or causes that you might be involved with. These questions need some time to work themselves out. I'm going to say that, again, we're in a process that is taking us into the first couple of months of next year. Your energy is what's going to be the most clear guide for you to make the decisions that you need to make. What do you feel in these circumstances? Do these circumstances feel like they are nourishing for you? Do you feel witnessed and seen and safe? Do you feel that there's trust? Great. Continue. Do these situations create anxiety for you? Do you feel that you're in a constant state of vigilance or overdrive? Are you in a place of ungrounded fantasy? Are you feeling really reactive and argumentative? Those are not places to make decisions necessarily from. That is information to take stock of and to notice what doesn't work for you, what does not serve your energy. Hey there. I'll be back in just a minute with the rest of your Libra season horoscope, but I wanted to let you know that if you're enjoying this reading and it's resonating for you, the best way to integrate and bring astrology's best potentials into your life is to put them into practice. At Embodied Astrology, that's exactly the kind of thing we do. Every month and throughout the seasons, we offer opportunities to engage the creative, experimental, and experiential aspects of current astrology. This season, I hope you'll join me for Somatic Space, which is a class I offer every Monday, where we prepare ourselves to work with the astrology of the week ahead through gentle, healing body practices, breathwork, meditation, and visualization. Over the weekend of October 12th and 13th, we also have 2 wonderful workshops with our faculty members, Gabs and Junata. On Saturday, October 12th, Gabs 404 will be joined by a special guest, the astrologer and time researcher Christopher Burrick, in the Nebula Lab, where they'll deep dive into time as a substance and explore the many ways that time has been measured, expanded, stretched, and played with, and how we can work with time across time through the cyclical symbolism of the outer planets. The next day, Sunday, October 13th, Junata Petrus returns for the Aries full moon edition of her monthly Artistic Alchemy series. In these sessions, Junata brings us into the textural, sensual encounters with the solar-lunar axis and full moon vibes by sharing playlists, artist practices, and personal prompts that help us uncover and expand our personal creative practices and life as artistry. These events are all offered on Zoom and available by recording if you can't attend live. Our offerings also change with each season and are always curated to meet the moment. To find out more, check the upcoming events in our show notes or click Study from the drop-down menu at embodiedastrology.com. As we move into the second half of October, I'm looking around October 13th right now, I think that there are some new directions that are taking shape inside of your consciousness. And these new directions are needing to be kind of worked with for a little bit of time. You are rethinking, you are remapping your relational agreements. And some important issues that feel really foundational have to be teased out a little bit. These foundational issues definitely have to do with a sense of safety, security, a sense of belonging. These are also issues that may really need you to, I'm going to say, stand your ground and stand in your own center and stand in your own truth, particularly when it comes to dynamics that are relational, that are needing to shift and change, and our attachment systems getting activated around that, and doing the things that they do where we feel like, oh, maybe I could compromise there, but it's actually not really what I want. That kind of circumstance really needs us to be in our own center, to be in our own ground, and to be able to connect with where we are related in a much broader sense. So a feeling of embeddedness and continuity with maybe multiple relationships in your friendships or various aspects of your life. Potentially ancestral relationships or land relationships or more than human relationships can be extremely supportive at this time for you to remember that you can resource yourself in many, many ways, that you are totally interconnected with everything, and also you are a sovereign being, and you can choose to live your life in bold and courageous ways that are oriented towards your own growth. Those are choices that are available to you in every single circumstance at some level. Of course, the world is always full of limitations and obstacles and restrictions, and the necessity to deal with circumstances that we certainly wouldn't choose and don't want to be in. And even inside of those circumstances, there are opportunities for us to really bring the truth of ourselves forward. And that is what you want right now, Leo. When you do this, you are energized. And so as we move into the last week and a half or so of Libra season, we're moving towards a full moon in Aries. This is your fellow fire sign. The planet Venus is going to be moving into Sagittarius, so there's lots of support for fire. We're also moving into Scorpio season. Scorpio is a sibling sign for you on the fixed cross. There's a lot of activation, energy, and charge that is coming into your body at this time. And my feeling for you is that there is a new horizon that you can see in front of you. There are some big possibilities or new call to adventure or new ideas about how you want to live and where you're trying to go with certain things. This could be smaller level with projects, it could be about relationships, and it could be big picture kinds of stuff like where do you want to live or something like that. How do you want to bring yourself into like every aspect of your world, right? There's also big themes, as I mentioned a moment ago, in your career, vocation, or kind of how you're being in your life right now. So I think a lot of you are looking out at the horizon. You're seeing the possibilities as we get out of Libra season. And this is really important. It's a great time for you to start to explore what your possibilities are, start to consider and maybe even plan for those possibilities. At the same time, Leo, it is really necessary for you to attend to the transition. And the transition might include endings. There may be need for letting go of what is not serving anymore. This could be aspects of relationships. It could be a substance, a kind of entirety of a relationship. Could be jobs. It could be projects. It could be a sense of all of the losses and so much to mourn in the world and in the collective right now that needs you to be able to feel that in order to be able to move forward. And this is tricky, especially for fire signs, because a lot of times with fire, we want to just jump into the new thing. We want to feel energized. We want to feel hopeful. We want to feel purposeful and like there's a cause. I think that you have that right now and you want to keep it in mind and take the time that is needed to be with deeper feelings, to be with losses, to be with endings, to be with memorializing or ritualizing. Give space for the transformation, and that will help you in the long term. If you try and skip past it, it won't be in service to whatever this vision is that is trying to emerge. That brings us to the end of Libra season. Leo, I hope that this reading serves your head, your heart, and your body, your relationships, and your experience in Libra season. Bye for now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this reading, please show your support. The easiest way to do that is to click the like, follow, and subscribe buttons below. Leave us great reviews on the streaming platforms you're tuning in with, and share our channels and offerings with your friends and networks. Your one-time and recurring donations sustain the production of this work. Click the link in the show notes to sign up for a monthly donation or leave us a tip. Thank you for your support.